When I was living in New York and JDate was sort of just starting, there was this huge sort of stigma to using online dating, but now it seems it's become almost standard. How would you say the sort of stigma and the acceptance of online dating has evolved?
I think it's evolved a lot, Emily. I think that when you look at JDate, I think it evolved earlier in the Jewish community, but we did a survey in January of 2,700 singles and found that 87% of them told us that online dating was a great way to meet people. And I've been at Spark for 9 years, and I can tell you that wouldn't have been the case 9 years ago.
So then how would you compare sort of the acceptance of it in the Jewish community versus some of these other communities that you're working with?
I think it's growing in a lot of the other communities. Our focus is really on the Jewish and Christian spaces, and we've seen a tremendous growth in the Christian space as well. Christian Mingle has almost 80% brand awareness in the Christian community and is growing like a weed. So we're really excited about what we're seeing and creating what we call our second JDate.
Now, as acceptance has evolved, the market's also become more and more saturated. You know, we're hearing that traffic to online dating sites is actually starting to plateau. Is that something that you're seeing?
You know, that's not what we're seeing. I mean, as Christian Mingle's grown, we've seen our growth continue. Christian Mingle's subscriber base is up more than 50% year over year in the first quarter. Revenue grew 45%. So we're not seeing that same slowdown, which is obviously very exciting for us.
What about the trend that online dating is now moving offline, that you need to start having sort of offline events like wine tastings and cooking classes to actually, you know, sort of stimulate real human interaction?
I think that's a great point. I mean, we've done offline events really since I've gotten here. And I think it's really important because people come to our sites looking for a serious relationship, whether they're looking for someone who's Jewish or Christian, but ultimately they're coming online to go offline, which is different from a lot of online businesses. And what we're trying to do is facilitate connections in whatever way that we can.
So JDate started in 1997, which was obviously very early days for the internet. There was no mobile, there was no Facebook. How has the technology that you guys are using to match people evolved and gotten better?
I think two things. So our technology to match people has evolved just because we've gotten smarter knowing how our members use the sites. And at the end of the day, our members come to JDate and Christian Mingle because they're looking for a serious relationship with someone who shares their faith and values. So when they show up in our communities, they've self-selected into the community and have something meaningful in common with people immediately. But clearly our matching algorithms have continued to evolve, as well as how people use the sites. I mean, we saw in the first quarter of this year on both JDate and Christian Mingle, our mobile logins to the sites grew more than 60%, which is obviously a really high rate and something we're very excited about.
What about the sort of perennial problem of dating sites? You know, it's great when people meet, they find love, they get married, then they don't need you anymore. You know, how do you sort of balance the, wanting people to find each other, but also wanting to hold on to customers?
Well, I think one of the great things is our best marketers are the people who meet on our sites. Far and away, notwithstanding all the money we spend on marketing, our best marketers are our success stories. And we show our success stories all the time. I read every success story that comes in. I've read every JDate success story for the past 9 years. And from a marketing perspective, those people that meet on our sites are our best evangelists. They go out, and the people who marry them, the rabbis and the pastors, then tell their congregants to come in. So it's really valuable for us. Plus the fact that we are faith-focused. We have some extensions that we've built. For example, for Christian Mingle, we own a site called Believe.com, which is a content portal, Faith.com, that's an inspirational video site, and DailyBibleVerse.com, all of which we can use to stay connected with our members even after they meet on our sites.
So what would you say, Greg, is the next step in online dating, the next sort of innovation? Is it more of these smaller niche communities? What is it?
For us, so I can tell you we're very focused on continuing to build out our communities. We think that the niche-focused approach is the way to go. We can build really, really solid communities, and at the end of the day, our incentives align with the communities, and we try to build and strengthen those communities. From a product perspective, I think you'll see a lot more on mobile. Just as people shift onto mobile, you will continue to see mobile evolve, and that's something we're very excited about from a product perspective, and we'll be investing in.